there, Steve, but, you know, I would assume that one of the messages would be energy because they were out-hustled, outplayed, you know, out-hearted in that first half, but that has not been the case in the third quarter. They came out on fire.
One more quarter to go here in the fourth, and the Gold Coast Blaze turned the first one over. Now, Sydney going back into that mode. Well, they've got nothing to lose. Madgen, pull-up jump shot. Why not? He has done everything right tonight. Madgen takes his total to 23 on a spectacular 11 of 14 shooting night. Hudson has it stripped by Martin. Tees. Haven't seen a whole lot of time tonight. Kadee. Tees from the corner. That's good.
That's a big three right there because the Kings in the last minute of the third quarter and in the first minute of this one, you know, just got close enough to give themselves a little bit of hope, and then a bang, a big three out to 14 again from a little used player. Certainly a good young fella.
Madgen. That one trickles in. He just shoots over the top of the smaller Jason Kadee. Very good at getting the bump, spinning around, and getting the shot. Grant knocks it loose. And he gets the score. Sydney, you know what? Sydney just can't get anything going.
No. I think they're gonna call this one a charge, and I'm not sure that that one really was there, Steve. But quick early timeout called by, I think, by actually Coach Joey Wright. We see the replay, Steve. I guess you call it, but heck, that to me was pretty light.
Oh, I'm not complaining about the call. I'm just saying Kings just can't get anything going to go their way, but they are down 69 to 57. We got plenty of basketball left.
They call
How safe are your tyres? We have a huge range of hot deals to suit every budget. Like this Maxxis all-terrain traction, reduced road noise and just $199 each. Or the legendary Bob Jane All-Rounder for large cars, just $95 each. And to help drive your dollar further, any set of 4 All-Rounder or Xenon tyres comes with a $50 fuel card on the spot. At Bob Jane T-Marts, we'll look after you.
Oh, welcome back. Welcome back here on the Gold Coast. Finally, the Blaze have something to dance about because they weren't doing a whole lot of dancing in the first half. The Kings were dancing around the rim, was dancing around and going down as they shot a very good percentage. Shane has got to be saying, look, you know, Ray, come on. We go way back, both from Melbourne. Hook a brother up. Give me a couple of close calls.
Yeah, it's been an 18-point turnaround since the halftime break. So it's been a tough time for the old Sydney Kings.
The Blaze had all the answers here in the second half. Tees. Turns it over. Grant catches up to it, loses balance, and ooh, he gets that to go.
We had a little bucklage of the knee there. Bit of a knee buckle didn't help out the situation. Hopefully he's all right, the big fella. I think we've got a sub. So we've got young Tees going out, and the man that everybody's come to see tonight, Steve, Adrice too hard to guard De Leon. They just come back into the game to try to close this thing out for the Blaze.
Those are the guys in foul trouble. Martin Iddy's gone, and it's Anthony Petrie, Worthington, and Graham Dan for Sydney, and Dre Grant also with 4.
Well, the way this game's been called, Steve, I'd be staggered if all of those players make it to the end of the game. I think there's going to be a few sitting the way the foul count's going.
Yeah, somebody will be sitting in the next minute. Stephen Hoare to Adam Gibson just inside the three-point line. His short has not been his night. Stephen Hoare with a heads-up play, tipping it to a teammate. Worthington just has it hit the rim, and the ball goes off of Luke Martin's leg. That's what I meant. Because Jason Kadee did a good job of getting himself outside the circle on that charge. I just meant just the Kings can't get anything rolling 2-3 things in a row.
But in the first half, it was the other way around. You know, things were flowing, and that can disappear as quick as it comes.
Give the Gold Coast all that credit, though. They are making their own breaks. De Leon. Great hustle.
It's been a defensive-led recovery for the Gold Coast Blaze. Steve, as we see another controversial foul call here. The Kings, Steve, have skipped away in the first 2 minutes, 20 seconds to a 3-0 foul count. As we see De Leon, they've called a foul over the back there when it looked like maybe that was just a scrappy play to try to come up with the ball.
It just looked like that he lost the ball, and when he loses the ball, then the defensive player has just as much right to grab it as the offensive player.
Absolutely, you're right. I mean, if he's got possession of it, it's a different story, but that was just two guys going for the ball.
De Leon. Pull-up jump shot. Grant gets a piece of it. Gines forgets to go for the ball. Stephen Orr. Magin to Grant for the jam. And he does a chin-up. De Leon is fouled.
I think they're going to give him 2 on this play. It may have been, you know, it may have with some referees, as Steve, as we see, just can't go back to Grant there for a second. Grant absolutely skied for that dunk, and he's got all sorts of athleticism. No knee buckling on that particular occasion.
No.
Little rim buckling.
Yeah.
But getting to this play here, Magin's trying to argue that it wasn't a 2-shot foul, but they're going to say that De Leon was well and truly into his shot sequence. So we've now got a 4-0 foul count, Steve.
Well, that's what Shane was saying. In the last, it's been a 6-0 run as far as fouls called against his team in the favor of the Gold Coast. That's where he was hitting. He's telling Ray Hunt, and Ray Hunt was like, what can I say?
Well, there's another one of those slap from behind little attempts by Idriss De Leon, but then a pretty obvious foul on, I think it was on Worthington, and I think Worthington's out of the ball game, Steve, with that inglorious 5th foul.
If there's contact, I'll call it, but when there's no contact, I'm not going to make the call.
Certainly not his smartest play ever, Steve, as he jumped in to a guy's upper body. See the ball loose. Really, I mean, Mark Worthington's way late on that play.
Magin misses it, and that's about the only thing he's done wrong tonight. De Leon over the top with the outstretched arm of Jure Grant. Jure Grant sitting on 4, so he couldn't go after it with the aggressiveness that he normally would, but still a very nice shot.
The points in the paint, Steve, still a decisive advantage to the Kings, but in every other area, the Blaze are really starting to own this one, particularly defensively.
Martin for 3 comes up short.
Got the ball, Steve. You're right. Get ready.
De Leon. He's got Anatoly Bose on him. Kadee to Petrie. He's been on fire. Why not? Gets the roll. No, he doesn't. Adam Gibson gets a little cheap one. And when you're only sitting on 2 fouls, you go after those with all the zest you can.
Absolutely, and even that Petrie shot I thought was going to fall. He's got good touch for a big fella, especially directly out from the hoop, but goodness me, the Sydney Kings just need to manufacture something here, and Magin seems to be their main option. Someone else has to contribute.
Martin finds Grant. He lays it up and in. De Leon did a good job making him shoot a tough one. De Leon finds Petrie.
Steve, that's a frozen rope of a pass that went about 35 feet, and it hit him on the chest under the hoop. I mean, just a great vision play.
Grant with his 17-footer. That's not even close. That's a tired-looking shot. Grant looks like he needs a blow.
Well, that's smart play, Anthony Petrie, taking one out of the Mark Worthington book there, Steve. Just saying, look, you're in foul trouble. If I'm single covered right now and the guy's not in position, I'm taking the ball to the hoop, and that's exactly what the Gold Coast need to close the game out.
Now the officials are upset with Gines for the reaction that he's given. And really, you can't react on every call. That is a foul call, but they've kind of opened that can of worms. I don't think this has been their best one tonight.
Well, it's the frustration that builds up over time, and sometimes as a player, I think, you know, you've been there. You lash out at the wrong one, but you're lashing out because of what's happened as a body of work. And I know, look, this game's not all about the referees. Let's be honest, Steve. The Gold Coast Blaze have turned this thing around. The third quarter was huge, but I agree, and I think that, you know, you can't be 100% of all things to 100% of the people 100% of the time. But let me tell you, hey, the referees haven't been 100% to either coach tonight. It's been a tough one.
No kidding. But the Blaze have definitely done it. Sydney Kings, Jerry Grant looking a bit tired because he's had a heavy workload tonight. He's got 14 points in the paint and making some plays on both ends of the floor when it comes to the paint. He has spent a lot of time above the rim.
Stevie's also spent a lot of time on the floor because of the absence of Julian Kazoo and because of the absence of in foul trouble of Martin Eddy. And so, you know, that's accumulated. And although his energy's been fantastic, you can tell he's tiring. He's going against bodies all the time. But isn't he a great finisher in the open floor?
Yeah, you don't finish any better than those highlights we just looked at.
Absolutely.
My goodness. And the Blaze, and let me just reiterate that there have been a lot of calls that have had people shaking their heads tonight. It has had absolutely no bearing on the game. The Gold Coast Blaze have completely outplayed Sydney here in the second half.
Yeah, that's the truth. And as good
Let's make that clear.
As good as Sydney Kings were, Steve, in the first half, and they were very good. As good as that's been, the Gold Coast Blaze going the other way in this second decisive half has been equally as impressive, if not more. The third quarter was outstanding.
And that's what they do. They wear you down over 40 minutes. They looked a little flat at times in the first half, but clearly realized they were in a ball game and got it done here in the second half as ANZBallaz shows you his ability to show that shot. And if you don't honor it, he just continues to shoot it. Gibson. Haven't needed him much tonight because Idriss De Leon has been amazing to watch.
De Leon just a casual 23 and 3 assists. It's been fantastic.
He's just so smooth at creating some space for himself on those shots. And his lack of size makes it even more impressive.
Yeah.
He's not tall. He's very slight build. Just got it on a string. Backdoor cut. Grant on the end of another pass from Ben Madgen.
Well, Madgen's not going to go down quietly here as we see a steal.
Extra pass goes to Luke Cooper for 3. Bowes on the offensive glass misses the layup.
Steve, that would have had him back into single figures. It was a great steal by Bowes at the center court area, but he couldn't finish the job at the other end.
That's a violation as the Kings force another turnover. Joey Wright looking over at the bench, and I believe we do have a timeout. Joey Wright doesn't like what he sees. The Sydney Kings forcing 2 turnovers in a row. They've scored the last 4, and it's a 10-point game. 4 minutes to go. It is not over. We've seen crazier things happen. We saw the Blaze come back after being down 20 at halftime against Perth, a very good team. So Sydney being down 10 with 4 minutes, it's a tall ask, but crazier things have happened.
Well, you'd rather be 10 up than 10 down. But the thing about it is, with the way the Sydney Kings have moved the ball the last couple of times down the floor, and the fact that you still have a couple of guys feeling pretty good about their game, that makes a difference. Ben Madgen right now thinks he can shoot from anywhere on the floor and get it in, and he's probably right. And ANZBallaz has come awake in the last couple of minutes. Grant, as much as he looks like he's fatiguing, he doesn't once he's 10 feet in the air throwing it down on the rim. So, you know, they've got at least those 3 right now, Steve, at least those 3 that are feeling good about their games. And I don't know what's being said at the moment in the timeout, but I would dare say they'd be looking at plays to try to use those hot-handed players, make the smart play, try to get the Blaze thinking about this thing a little bit if they're only 5 or 6 up.
Jerry Grant, just when you were talking about him, took a glance down at his stats. He is 9 for 11 for his 19 points.
Yeah, he's got 5 boards as well, a couple of blocks, a couple of steals. It's been a good game for the import.
Martin to Bose for three. It's long. Will Hudson positions himself for the rebound. They dodge a bullet. They get the stop. De Leon.
Have to call it once the player's down, Steve, but that was unfortunate because De Leon really initiated all of that contact. And I think this is a tough one to call, Steve, because, you know, they have to make the call, but who's made the contact?
Who's made the contact? He just runs into Luke Cooper.
Yeah, they could have very well
make that call.
They could very well have called that offensive foul. I mean, he really made the
What has the defender done wrong other than run alongside of him? He wasn't even running alongside of him.
He was just running.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, De Leon.
Clearly whoever made that call has never played a game of basketball ever in their life.
Yeah, that was a bad one. I mean, he had nowhere to go. The contact was initiated by De Leon. And unfortunately, from a Sydney Kings standpoint, it's a crucial point of the game. 12 points down now in the hole.
Imagine. On one leg. Oh, my goodness. He looked a Dirk Nowitzki shot. Wow.
He's given up a foot to Dirk or more, but it did look like that style, that's for sure.
Kadee going baseline, finds Petrie, and they'll run some more clock off. Gibson steps into that three, still comes up short. Will Hudson is by himself on the glass.
Blockout breakdown, total blockout breakdown there by the Kings.
Martin gets it to Magin. And Magin is having a night.
Well, that brings up his 30th point, Steve. I mean, he's got 30 of their 72. There's a steal here. Could he get another two?
Martin for three. It's straight. It's short. Magin loses the rebound contest to De Leon. And he'll take some time off the clock. Good decision.
Well, that was just a huge three by Magin. I mean, talk about a hot hand. That's unbelievable. 30 points has been fantastic.
That's his career high for Sydney. De Leon finds Will Hudson. He's fouled, and that'll be the fifth on Dre Grant.
And what a killer too, Steve. As the shot clock was expiring, yeah, well executed by the Blaze. Just eating every second of the clock, and then nice lob pass inside from De Leon. We see, and Grant, he's out of here. What a great effort he's given. But unfortunately, he's left them even more short-handed, and the Blaze given, I guess, the chance to close it out with that a little bit more ease than otherwise may have been the case had he been there.
Hudson misses the first. But boy, they have had lots of contributors tonight. Worthington relatively quiet. He's been in foul trouble. He's on 9. But Petrie with 9. De Leon with 25. Hudson getting his double figures. Graham Dan was wide open. Had to do was lay it up, but he chose the better option because they got an extra point out of it.
Yeah, I must admit I didn't know where he was heading there, but it came off for the Sydney Kings. And that's a foul. They're fouling early now, and I don't know if that was instructive foul, but I don't think it was. I think they just needed to play that set out, Steve. It's still, you know, a 10-possession game from here or an 8-possession game from here, but they've put De Leon on the line. Well, the foul count's still quite...
Is my math wrong? They're only down 6.
Yeah, that was not a good foul. I mean, as I said, they really just needed to try to play the honest D there, try to come up with a stop, and then they go to, you know, 4 or even 3 with the three-pointer the way they're shooting it, but it's gone the other way.
I don't understand that one at all. He's going to make both of these free throws.
Well, looking at Luke Martin, Steve, right after the foul, yeah, he was very, very upset with himself that he made the foul. So I don't think it was any type of instruction.
No strategy.
No.
No surprise, he makes him pay with a gift, 2 gifts. He just dribbles out of bounds.
Shane Heal with a look of concession on that call. He knew he wasn't going to get anything there, and it was bad ball handling.
De Leon with a split finds Will Hudson. He just bobbles it out of bounds.
Both teams making plenty of mistakes, Steve. Both teams look tired, mentally fatigued.
Second game for both of these teams. Cooper at the three-point line is good.
So it brings it back to 5 with 90 seconds left in the game. Still plenty of time. The problem is that they've got foul trouble, and the problem is that the Blaze keep sort of giving it to their quality ball handlers, both Gibson and DeLeon. I think you'll find Steve are going to be handling the ball most of the time.
Well, it's a two-possession lead, really. So, yep. And no need to panic for either team. The Gold Coast Blaze want to run some time, but they need to hit some shots or make free throws.
Absolutely.
Sydney needs stops. There's a lot of basketball left. We're only a 5-point differential.
Really, really good. They're not going to count that too, but really, really good. Wise head right now being shown by Adrice DeLeon. Steve, we see it here. He's got so many changes of direction and such good body control that you feel like he can draw the foul almost whenever he wants. And it reminds me of very different players, but CJ Bruton's so good at that. And in his prime especially, he's never been as quick as DeLeon, but wise. I mean, just knows how to draw that foul, get to the line, and you see that there from DeLeon.
When Adrice DeLeon is shooting it like he is outside the three-point line, he's impossible to guard. He's 4 of 7 from the three-point line. That means, and his shot looks good. Absolutely. From the tip, it looks like it's going to go in the whole time. So you have to get up on him. And when you do, he is too hard to guard.
Yeah.
He handles it too well. He's too quick and hesitates.
I know it looked, a silly thing to say, or maybe sounds that way, but even though he's hit 4 threes, Steve, you almost have to still sag off him because he's impossible to guard down the lane. Impossible.
Imagine for another long bomb. That trickles out. Graham Dan gets it back to Luke Martin. That's short. Anatoly Bose gets the score, and he's fouled.
Wow. Keeping the game alive, Steve. Keeping the game alive. I mean, it's 5 points, still a two-possession game with a minute to go.
This game has got some drama in it as we see the replay. Bose with the contact goes to the line. Now, he's a shooter that can miss one, too.
And does.
And does. I don't know why Sydney didn't have an extra guy on the line.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I think they can afford to play this possession out without fouling and hope for a miss. But after that, they'll be fouling on every occasion, I think, after the next time the Blaze do have the ball. They're not going to do it on this occasion. They're going to see if they can get a stop.
Adrice DeLeon. Time expires. They throw it ahead to Magin. He's fouled. Wow. Plenty of time left. Magin, a good foul shooter, will go to the line for 2. And we could be looking at a 3-point game.
Steve, as we see the replay, Magin, really good body control. Almost took an extra step, but I'm glad they let that go. I thought it was a good layup. He's got a chance to get it to a one-possession game. But, Steve, wasn't it only about 7 or 8 minutes ago that the Blaze looked totally in control of this game? And of all things, we see Magin miss that free throw. That's amazing.
They've had so many opportunities.
Absolutely.
Misses them both. Petrie with the big rebound.
How did that not stay down? That ball was 90% down and 10% out. But it came out in the end, and Petrie has got a chance to seal this one up, get him out to 7, and that makes things, near impossible for the Kings. But I mean, Steve, they were under control of the Blaze. They had that thing out at 14, 15 points, and
Joey would not be happy with how his team has not closed this game out. They've given Sydney so many opportunities, and they've missed a couple with free throws, missed layups.
They won't be happy with the style of, or the, I guess, the way this thing's played out down the stretch, as we see Petrie barely get this one to fall. But he will be happy if they get the win, Steve, because make no mistake, with Perth and New Zealand playing each other tonight and all those other factors, they still have a chance at the top 2. So it's going to be very, very interesting.
Petrie misses them both. And both of these teams giving each other all kind of hope. Magin tries to cut through, and he misses the tough layup. Tease does a good job getting rid of it, so he's not fouled. DeLeon will go to the line.
It's going to be an unsportsmanlike foul, Steve. So this gives Adrice DeLeon to add a chance to add to his 29 points. Had a heck of a shootout, Steve. We see the replay. DeLeon taken out of the play there, and one of the referees just commented, "You're lucky to still be in the game, so don't complain about the unsportsmanlike foul." I'm not sure it was quite that bad, but it hasn't.
Who was it called on? Was it Cooper or Martin?
Well, I think they got Cooper on it. So
yeah, he hit him first.
I think they got that one. I think Martin didn't get him too badly. So we've got 2 shots and possession. But Steve, as we see DeLeon hit the first, up to 30 points. Imagine also with 30. I wouldn't have seen 60 points coming from the 2 of the smaller players on the floor tonight, but it's been a tremendous shootout between these 2 dynamic guards. One import, one young Australian.
Well, Sydney just 5 of 20 from the foul line. And in a tight game, you can't expect to get a win when you shoot 5 of 20.
They're going to still foul DeLeon, so not conceding the game, and a chance for DeLeon to hit another 2 to take his personal total up to 33. I mean, he's been sensational. And it was DeLeon, Steve, that really gave Gold Coast the emotional boost as well in the third quarter. He really pumped himself up and wanted to get himself into that game so desperately. And it's him,
right on that one.
yeah, and it's him really closing out the game. Down the stretch, a big last quarter for him.
Lapping it up, and as Andrew Gay said, and Brett Maher, you never give those up at the end of the game when a team is in a fouling situation. You give yourself a couple more points. And Anatoly Bose hits the 3. It's insignificant because the Blaze got it done. They had a commanding third quarter and showed that they are one of the powers as we are on the eve of the NBL playoffs. Gold Coast Blaze get it done. They got their eyes on a top 2 spot.